Many thanks for joining us on yet another exciting episode of your favorite show, Engendered on Captain Television. Like you know, it's a show where we bring you the female gist, the female conversation, and the female talks. I am familial show.
And I am Margaret Opara. Today on the show, we will be discussing personal development. We have a wonderful guest on the show, but you will meet her after the short break, so stay with us.
Glad to have you back on the program. For just joining us, it's still Engendered, and like we said before the break, we're going to be talking about personal development on today's program, and we equally have a beautiful guest in the studio with us today. So join me to welcome Omotola Dorcas. Is that having you on the program?
Thank you.
Welcome. Welcome.
Welcome.
Thank you. How do you feel? How do you feel today?
I'm excited to be here.
Okay.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Okay. Today we're going to be talking about personal development. So, how do you understand personal development to be? Because left to me, if just to define what personal development to be as just an everyday lady, I'll just say it's like some kind of skill, like a push, like a challenge to probably survive in life. So in your own understanding, how would you describe it?
It's an attitude. It's a skill. It's your ability to be able to scale situations, be it impromptu or something that you are readily prepared for. Not everybody has it, but at one point in life, we get to a certain stage where we know that this is something that I have to do. Because if I don't do it, then I would be relegated to the back. Nobody really wants to be a loser. Nobody wants to be called a loser. Everyone wants to be the envy of the other person.
Yeah.
So your ability to always stay in that place of reckoning, where people can reckon with you, where people can say, oh, you are doing well for yourself.
Yes.
It's one thing I can say personal development handles.
Right. So now, in relation to women, because this is like a women's show, although we touch so many other things, but relating this thing to women, lately I saw a tweet, sometime last week I saw a tweet that says, was it yesterday or thereabout? I saw a tweet that said, women of these days, you notice that it's not like the norm. Most ladies these days now refuse to settle for less. They are looking for things to not say that era of in the kitchen thing is no more in vogue. Like women, you can see women doctors, even aspiring presidents and governors of states and all of that. So you think now it's I don't think it's a question, but it's just a tweet I saw. But you think the status quo has changed? Because we still have women who are, I just want to get married to a rich man and probably be fine. But do you think the status quo has changed or is changing gradually?
I think it has changed, and the society knows that. Like you said, you saw a tweet. I also saw something yesterday. It said when a guy is rich, he wants to marry a wife. But when the lady gets the money, she wants more out of life.
Yeah. And
it's more or less like the needs are changing, and the understanding of how life should be is changing. No longer are women trying to live for the society or to live up to the expectation of a third party or even a second person. Now, I think the feminine are beginning to realize that it's about time they live for themselves. And if I say live for themselves, not that you become selfish, but you get to a point whereby you live a life that you can say, I have lived. It's not just I've given birth and I've raised children, but I, as a person, Omotola Dorcas, I am fulfilled, yes.
Yeah, you know something about this relation to women. If you look at this personal development thing, sometimes, as much as few of us, like let's just say, okay, 3 of us here now, we agree to the fact that it's a skill we have to acquire, and it's some kind of work in progress, and you have to keep striving to get better. Do you know that some people still feel like it's really not needed? Okay, if I have a job, I have a job, I have a car, I have a husband, I think I'm cool. It's okay, I'm comfortable, I have everything I need, and there's no this ginger, let me call it just ginger, like there's no drive. This thing is not really coming.
Drive,
If you, no, I think I'm cool with this. What more do I want from life? I can basically get everything I want. So now back to the point. What do you think are the main reasons why, as females, we should not settle for less one, and then we should have this drive that we should keep going. We should not stop. We should not have a breaking point. We've not even gotten to that point yet. How do you think we can actually do this? What are the reasons why we need to?
The first thing to tell yourself is that my life is not constituted by the things that I own. Because over time, I realized that the society tags a successful person, not even a woman now, as someone who has a house, who has a car, who is married, who has kids, and whose kids are doing well. But then over time, in the little period of time that I've spent on Earth, I realized that there are quite a number of things that I do not have preeminence over. But the little thing that I know that I can do is to do the best that I can at every point in time. So I realized that the things I have can go within the split seconds of time.
Very well.
You can be married and the husband can be dead. Yourself and your husband can have kids and they can go. You can be a C-suite executive in an organization, and within a split seconds you can just be kicked out.
Very well.
So I realized that basically what really makes you is not where you are or the things that you own. It's the things that makes you up internally, your mindset, your drive, your passion, your belief system, the culture that determines your style. When I close my eyes and I remember Fumi, what comes to mind? It is not just your physique.
Exactly.
It's the things that you have reflected to me in terms of my communication with you, the integrity that you have. So basically, I would say that for every person, for every woman, your desire should not be to acquire things. Your desire should not just be to acquire things. It should not just be to be in a particular position, but is that the next person can speak well of you even when you are not here. There's a legacy that you should leave. When you leave a place, there's an impression that should stay in the hearts of the people that you communicated with. Even people that did not talk with you, just by hearing or eavesdropping on what you were saying, like, wow, who is this?
But then how do you think this can actually go around? Looking at the kind of society we are in, and looking at the kind of issue women face every day. If you're married and your children are not doing fine, it's on the lady. If you're not even able to get married, it's still on you. And the whole thing is so cumbersome, and people are finding fault in everything a woman does. And now it's only few people that are acknowledging to the fact that there's more to me than this me that I'm sitting down here. There's more to what I can do in life. How do we pass this message? Or let me put it like, how do we change the mindset? You talked about mindset earlier. How do we change the mindset of people? Because you see some ladies, I keep saying it, they don't, like, they feel, if you have gotten to a stage like this, they feel comfortable. Nothing, I don't need anything again. I said, okay, now we have few motivational speakers, women coming up, likes of Ibuku and Woshika coming out to give people this drive that you need to do this, you need to do that, and all of that. How ourselves, like our females, we here, people outside, how can we change this mindset of people?
Let me use myself. One thing I tell myself is, of course, I know that what a man can do, it is not every time that a woman can do better. So I am not an advocate of what a man can do. A woman can do better. That's your unpopular opinion. Yes, do you understand? Because I feel that there are certain things that when it comes to mental capacity, intelligence-wise, when it comes to ability to manage, ability to administer, skill, and all of those things, I can do it. And why can I do it? If he can do it, I can do it. Now, so long as he's not using his muscles, so long as he's not using, his body structure, because when it comes to the male and female, there are certain things that we cannot deny.
Exactly, we can't even start.
I can't. Do you understand? But when it comes to mental capacity, when it comes to intelligence, when it comes to emotional intelligence, we can compete on those grounds. Now, depending on what you feed yourself with, because depending on the belief system, depending on how you are raised. Now, to a degree, how a child is raised determines to an extent the kind of principle of life that he or she, But then there comes a point in your life that you tell yourself, what do I want? You need to be able to tell yourself, what do I want? You need to be able to determine for yourself, what do you want to achieve out of life? What do you want to be perceived as when your thought comes to mind? If you can figure that out, it would go a long way in determining the things that you would put your hands into, the skills that you would learn. you know, if you can figure out things that easily interest you, it will help you to channel your interest towards something more profitable that will not just benefit you alone, but also the next person.
Okay. I I want to say this, just like the what the man can do, man can do thing. In my opinion, I think as a lady or as ladies, let me speak for myself. As a lady, I wasn't created to do what a man can do. I was created to do what the man cannot do. Now that's what makes me unique. So if I'm doing what you can do, that means we are the same. So my uniqueness is doing those things you cannot do, those things you find difficult to do. That is what I do, and that's what makes me woman. But now, in the place of personal development, there are times when people in a bid to develop themselves personally, they become too overzealous and over the board, and they start losing values. Now they're trying to gain value, but now because of the they now begin to lose value, and they feel probably the world is revolving around them, and that,
which of course
that's where toxicity comes in. Yeah. So
I think you should know your limits.
Okay.
You should know your limit. As much as you are driven, as much as you're passionate about what you're doing, you should have your limits. And women, we want to do plenty of things. We can multitask. We do not have we lack the ability to delegate. Not everybody can take their eyes off an activity, because I learned that like the hard way. I am a kind of person that I want to do everything myself. You can't wash my clothes, you can't cook my food.
Are you some kind of perfectionist? Like, okay, if you're
I don't have OCD.
One does it better. One does it better than you.
Another person is not doing it right if it's not coming from
It's just that there's a way I want what I will use to be done. Now, if it's something that everybody would be participating in, so long as I know that there are different opinions and there are different thoughts, I try to just chip it in and relax. I didn't start that like from the onset.
Really, with what you're saying, I would really like to see you like offset, like see you in the normal everyday life and actually be able to
talk about the issue of having to like things to be done. No, it's something that I think I am like that too. I feel if someone else, a friend of mine told me, try to allow people help you sometimes. At least dish out the duty, support. Sometimes you don't feel
they don't even do it the way you want it, and the result comes out.
What if they do it better
than you actually?
Well,
it would have, like, sincerely, I'll be
glad. That thought will not even come that they might do it better. You always think that they will do it lesser than what you would think. No, they can actually do better.
I think. Don't you think that that's more or less like selfishness? Because let's look at it this way. If you're talking about personal development, I think there should be some qualities we should look out for in somebody. So are you trying to say one of it is you should be a perfectionist, or you should be able to do things in your own way?
I can't deny what she just raised, which is why I agreed to it. But now the clause comes in. If I give you something to do, or if we are supposed to do something together, over time that we have worked together, I should know qualities. That's one thing you should be able to do, because it helps you to also develop yourself personally. Your ability to be able to see the good, the better, even. The truth is, there would always be somebody who is better than you are. You need to acknowledge that. But the thing is, despite how good or how excellent that person might be at what he or she is doing, they can't do it like you do it.
But you know something, we grow to think that we are women. We should be able to like help ourselves. We are in a competition.
This competition. Now, this is what I'm saying. You can't do it like I would do it. But that does not mean that you cannot do it better than myself.
Before you continue, let's just take a short break, but we'll be back for this discussion. All right, now I'm sure you're enjoying yourself. Well, we have to go for a very short break now. When we come back, we'll continue with this discussion, so stay tuned.
Glad to have you back on the program. For just joining us, is still Engendered, and so far we've been discussing personal development with a beautiful guest, Dorcas, in the studio. So
Dorcas, I know before the break, I'm sure the viewers were like, why did she have to cut us? But then please just be conscious so they don't start to protest.
Okay, as I was saying, your ability to be able to see the best out of people goes a long way. You asked the question, is it that I can't allow people? No, I can, so long as I know that once you take it up, okay, now I also need to trust that you can do it. I need to trust you. I don't just come at you like the first instance and say, no, do this, then I'll be bossy. We have every tendency as a lady to be bossy.
Correct.
But
Very
then
well.
I acknowledge that you can do this. If you were employed for that position, or if you were brought into that role because of precedence of, okay, they know you've been doing it before, then I think I should trust that. Do you understand? But if I've used you 1, 2, 3, and
you're not even
you're
doing
not
better
you're
than-
not doing better, you're not improving on your skill, and you do not even have the attitude to learn, then sincerely I may not really be
Yeah, I
able.
think
Okay,
that
yeah.
actually caught me, that attitude to learn.
Yes.
Let's now bring it down back to this personal development thing. I was saying something about we looking into the characteristics or qualities of somebody that really wants to develop herself
personally, yeah.
personally. And we said something about, I think attitude is one of it.
Yeah.
So what are the attributes
Yeah.
do you think we should actually look out for in somebody that, okay, this is me trying to develop myself in this way. I should be this, I should be that.
Number one, don't be too hard on yourself. Don't be too hard on
A whole lot
yourself.
of women are
It's difficult
Yes.
to.
It's
This
difficult,
advice
Very,
is
very,
difficult
very,
to
very
take.
difficult. Yes, don't be too hard on yourself, because you realize that the moment you are getting too hard on yourself, you see that you are doing a lot of things, and then you are consumed with wanting to do well. At the end of the day, you lose focus of indications that are giving you like an alert. Okay,
Yeah.
don't do this, don't do this. But because you are so driven
Yeah.
and you are so consumed with what you want to do, you do not see them. Because we are all in a process. And on that journey, there are things that you should avoid. There
Yeah.
are things that you should bypass. There are things that you should look on. So if you are not calm, you cannot say that because you need to be at a particular destination in the next 1 hour that you drive without.
Recklessly.
You can't afford to do that. So you need to check your gauge, you need to check your light, you need to check the next person. You are conscious of a lot of things,
Sensitive
but
of your
yet you are at a,
Steady.
you are at a
Before you
steady
before you
pace.
go on with the attitude to self-development, don't you think the reason why some women, I would say in general, but I want to talk about women, why some women seem to be like they want to push too hard is because of how the society
Society.
has made it. Because now they expect so much
So
from women.
much.
Your marriage fails.
It's
It's
you.
on
Even
you.
you're 28, you're not married. They're asking
Yeah,
how far you're
questions,
finished
yeah.
serving. What's up now? You're,
Yeah, is it that one? As in, the moment you enter school,
Exactly.
they're already
Or
telling
your-
you
your
once you
marriage
graduate,
fails.
is
Yeah.
either you should come out with a
Exactly.
fiancé and they are not even asking you to come with a first class.
many things.
No, nobody will tell you to come out with a first class as a lady. It's like anybody.
already
Actually, when I was in school, someone said to me, I was barely in, I was just ending, rounding up 100 level. Someone said, one of my senior friends then say, Margaret, she was about getting married. She was doing her master. Margaret, when you finish school, make sure you come out with PhD. Like, okay, PhD.
You didn't ask
Before
what
you
PhD
finish,
is.
Peking,
Yes.
husband and degree. So
Yeah.
I'm like, he said, before you finish, very important. How old are you now? At this age, imagine you have a child. Now, I come out. I'm not married at the point. I'm sure we are expecting her. I find her like you might never have a relationship. Don't you think she has a bad attitude? And probably maybe in your house, your parents just have 3 girls like my parents have. So they expect, society is expecting
Yeah.
you to meet up. I'm like,
Don't
so
you even think the pressure is too much on
much.
this in society, and that's why sometimes we get things, we do things overboard.
Overboard,
Yeah.
yes.
I know someone who
yes.
used to work in school. A friend of mine, she goes to school. My course, theater art, it's very hectic. You go to school, she works in the evening. She comes back in the mornings. Weekends, she does jobs in between because she just needed to. And
I mean, you have
to meet
up with the
You
society.
need
you
to
can't
meet
tell her
up with
to
society, yeah.
reduce her
Because
pace.
at one point they will say you are lazy.
You are lazy.
You have this lackadaisical
You know,
attitude.
you know
have
the
carefree
truth
attitude
is,
and
at
all.
every stage in life, there would always be demands. We can't short our years or ourselves away from the society.
But is every demand that we have to yield to?
No, yes, it is not. But it is necessary to drive you.
Okay.
It has to be there.
It has to be there. You know, you cannot take objections. You cannot take adversaries. You cannot take issues of life that put you in a tight corner outside of the process. You will not get better by that. You realize that an iron does not get sharpened just by you smashing it against the wood. No. All of those animosities, all of those negative things, to a degree, they are things that makes you to always sit up.
Yeah. to be
But then there's a
tall.
point that you should always come to in yourself, that you tell yourself, I would rather use this as a challenge to push me forward Now, I can't afford to allow everything that is being said to get at me, because it can infiltrate into my mind. Do you understand? There's a kind of energy that I should have that can help me to be amiable, that can help me to be easily entreated, that can help me to easily communicate with people. Because in as much as I say I want to achieve this, I can't do this alone. I need people around me. And of course, they also have things that are going on in their life. So one way they manage those things is, you see some people lashing out. You see some people, people respect you so much that they expect a lot from you.
Yeah.
They respect you so much. They see the potentials in you. That's how I take it. If I begin to highlight things that I've gone through in my life, many people will ask me, how do you do it? You don't even know my profile, because I choose to keep some things to myself. Do you understand? And why is that? I try not to lead with the issues of life. I lead more with the possibilities that I can see. That is what drives me.
And that's the most important.
Yes. So rather than focusing on what people are saying, or what you think that they are saying, or what you think that they perceive you as, then focus more on where you are going, and use everything that they are saying as a pill to, you know what I mean by pill, like a drug that you take every morning, and then you go through life. You hear it, okay, it means I'm not where I should be, but don't get overwhelmed.
But then looking at this whole thing, as ladies, I keep saying this, we have a whole lot of issues that we get bothered about. And now there's a place of we're talking about school, marriage, and all of this. And if you look at it, a friend of mine did some kind of survey and checked that we have so many career-driven ladies that they know what they are doing. They are go-getters and all. That up till now, they are not married. And then she said she had to have some of them had to ask personal questions from them, and many of them are like, see, marriage, everybody's not so much marriage is not for everybody. And she was just shocked, like, what do you mean marriage is not for everybody? In you trying to develop yourself, you have to get married and still develop yourself even in your marriage. Okay, some people say marriage is not for everybody. Some people say, I've not gotten what I want in life. Marriage is like a second assignment. So now it got me confused. Like, okay, as ladies, as much as I have to be goal-driven, I have to be passionate about whatever I have to do. I have to keep striving and all. Do we have to have some kind of, is there some kind of broken or thing that, okay, this is the first thing you have to do? So at this stage of your life, you should have gotten to this place.
Yes.
I know you can actually do some self-assessment on yourself. But then, the society, the family, everybody makes you know that, okay, at a point in your life,
you should be married. You should have kids.
You have to have checked that from there. But then if it's not really working, they see you as a failure.
Not everybody has to get married.
You to go with that?
Yes, because I believe that there is always a purpose for all of us, but not everybody can handle that sphere of marriage. If you can handle it, and if you think that you are matured enough to handle that sphere and also manage your development in life, then you feel free to do that. Do you understand? Like, what's the point of being married? And at the end of the day, when they look at you as a person, there's nothing to write home about. I've seen people that when they were single, they were better off than being married. Now, it comes down to the choice of person that you get married to. Most guys cannot handle a lady that is driven. And you should be able to decipher that before you enter into a relationship with such person. So I do not think that we should force every lady to get married. It's the same thing you see a person who was married before the husband died. She does not have to get married again. It's a choice that she has to make. The same, I'm telling you, because there are different purposes to which marriage fulfills. As much as we know that it fulfills the intention of God, that it is not good for a man to be alone. Do you understand? But then if you think that you do not have, okay, the Christian people will say if you do not have the grace for it, then do not force yourself into it, because at the end of the day, when you die, are you going to be walking on the street of gold together as husband and wife?
Actually not. Okay, in as much as I agree with that, with your opinion that says marriage is not for everybody.
everyone.
But I want to get married. I feel married.
Of course I want to
get married. But I get you. You just said it. That doesn't mean you don't want to get married. I want to get married, and it's what, in as much as it's awesome to get married, you also said your choice of a spouse is very important. But there are some cases where I have seen people who, ladies who were actually nothing, and they got married,
and they became
the husband pushed.
Yes.
I can't marry someone who is not like you. Have to go to school, get a degree. Oh yeah, masters. What of PhD? You want to? But I was having a discussion with one senior friend of mine, and she said something. She said that her husband is a PhD holder, and she just had a postgraduate, and her husband always makes it look like you are pursuing me. What I do with all these degrees? What are you? It's only postgraduate she has.
As they want you to still know more, they feel
something
at some point.
So you see that he feels, and I said probably, I feel it's peculiar with African men. Probably he feels if you get all of those degrees, you're going to start doing the power tussle with him. You start dragging shoulders.
I think that from the onset, based on your relationship with one another, even before you got married, your husband should be able to see you, how do I put it now?
To foresee the future.
Foresee the future. Now, if she gets to this point, because those are the things that you look into when you are making a choice of who to get married to. Now,
you would have seen the signs.
Yes, you see indications. You see indications.
But sometimes indications could hide. Don't you think so?
You cannot be a friend with a person for 5 good years, and you will tell me that you never saw an indication. Then you should not be married.
Okay, you know, people pretend a lot, and we have a whole lot of people that just because they wanted to get this particular person, they pretended, they did everything,
of course.
Immediately when they got into the marriage, the person started unfolding.
But that cannot be the percentage of half of the population of people who get married. Of course, that happens. Yeah. It happens, and that's why they are. How do I call it now? It's more like, okay, interventions. Okay. Interventions in the area of marriage counselors. You meet people. That's the reason why we have those interventions. Okay. You have groups where you get to sit together and you talk. So there are provisions for people who maybe before you get married, there were certain things you did not see. Now you're married, you are beginning to see. So both of you need to collectively agree, okay, we need to work on this. This is not something that we are prepared for. We did not know that it was there. So you work on it.
But you know, at some point, because I've actually had people that had experiences with their fiancé, and it's like, okay, this person is supporting my career, and that was one
the reason why
I fell for this. And after the whole thing is actually in support, it makes me go through this, makes me go through that. And okay, this is my career now. It's now a little bit established to like what I'm happy about. And so far so good. It's now feeling like, okay, I think this is taking too much of it. This is like there's a divided attention. You are giving too much attention to this, your career, than this. And forget the fact that, you know, I supported you. You know, they can be very manipulative. I'm sorry to use this on them, but then guys sometimes can be manipulative. They make you like start making excuses. You start saying, okay, you know, when I was there for you when you needed this, I was there for you. I never said you were doing this, but now this thing is affecting me too much.
I think
how do you strike the balance between you?
That's the essence of this conversation that we are having. As a lady, you can multitask. That is one natural skill that you have. Now, you're also pursuing a career, and you have chosen to take on the responsibility of taking care of somebody who is your husband, and you know that there's a possibility of children coming into it. So you need to be able to strike that balance. Correct. Because once you are married, to be candid, your priority is your family. Yes. Your priority is your family. So you should not do things that would counteract with those activities, because your career is one and your family is another. But you should not do anything at the detriment of your family.
First, yes.
Because your career can go down. Yeah. It's possible.
And the only thing you fall back to
is your husband and your kids.
Now, I want to share one experience. Like, this is something I've noticed, because I've had opportunity of listening to motivational speakers. Most of them I get inspired. I get the drive to want to do more in life and all of that. But then, like, few people have actually seen the first thing they do, especially the women, everywhere they go, they tend to like, I appreciate my husband. I appreciate my husband. I have the best husband. I have this. And in the course of whatever they are trying to say, they tell you, I travel a lot. I go from here, I'm in Japan, I'm there, and this is my husband. I got married to the best husband. And I'm like, I'm not understanding something here. How can you be traveling all this far and wide, and you're saying you married? Is it that you don't want to give us this impression that, okay, your husband may be complaining, but giving him this kind of public accolades, like you actually, because that is actually confusing. You're trying to, because these people, obviously they are career driven, and wherever they find themselves, they feel they still have to go.
To be
Don't
candid,
you think
there are some husbands that take delight in seeing their wives in the limelight?
Before we fall down on that, let's take a quick break. Alright, we also take a quick break now, and when we come back, we'll still be having Dorcas talk more about personal development. Don't go anywhere, we'll be right back.
All right, welcome back. We've been talking to Omotala Dorcas, and we're discussing personal development. Before we went on the break, Fumi asked a question, and you're supposed to answer. But thank you for staying with us before I start the question. Yes, so I would like to pick up from where you stopped.
Okay, I said that it's not every man that does not take delight in seeing his wife in the limelight.
Yeah.
It should be your pride as a husband to see your wife. She's the one standing or sitting here. Because if you are husband and wife and you have kids, and your kids are not doing well, both of you will tell yourself, oh, what kind of children do we have? Now, that same thing should also be in the minds of men. Now, I don't think that it is not every man whose wife always says what you said. There's
a few of them, and I'm just making a case for the men.
The men.
That, don't you think? Because I feel they are being cheated one way or the other.
Okay, what if they had an agreement?
I know, just about to say that.
That's just what I just was. I feel one way or the other. Maybe, I stand to be corrected.
The same thing goes for pastors who do not even have time for their families.
It's a two-way thing.
There's a need for us to strike a balance here.
Yeah, that's what we are striking.
Yes, we must strike that balance. As the man and as the woman, before you set out to say, okay, we are getting married, you should have an agreement. You should have this discussion that we're having right now.
Exactly, most important.
Because there will be a point in time where I will have to be going here and there. Are you willing to still?
Yes, especially, okay, now, it comes down to this. Before he met you, what were you doing? If you were just someone who, like,
I was just an office assistant.
Just an office assistant, then all of a sudden you feel you want to change your career. It should be a discussion that both of you should have. Because the demands, the demands will come and you would have to respond to them. You can't be called on an interview, you can't be called to come and speak at a conference, and you are giving an excuse that my husband, like, that kind of conversation should not. No.
You know why I actually cited that example? Because I want us to go to the fact that some women, the fact that they are getting this whole kind of attention, people are listening to them. You have thousands of people wanting to. I just want to hear Fumi talk to me. I need Fumi to motivate me. Understand? And then it gets into you, and you feel I've arrived. And still back to personal development, because as much as you are developing yourself, there are times that you still need to think marriage, even though marriage is not for everybody. Kids will get involved and all of that.
It makes you responsible.
And then you don't get carried away with whatever you are doing, making it affect your family, one way or the other.
Yes, you should be able to do that, because the truth is, you want to be fulfilled as a wife. You also want to be fulfilled as an individual. So you don't do anything that would make you lack on the other side. You cannot be good outside, and at home, your husband cannot easily lie on you, cannot say, that's my wife, cannot easily talk about you in the midst of his friends.
Don't be too busy.
No, you shouldn't. You shouldn't.
But there's some cases where something you mentioned earlier, having the conversation. I feel times people can just say, yes, I had conversation with you, now I'm changing my mind. Okay, what would you do when you're married already?
Then you are stuck.
It's for better for us.
It's for better for us.
Can,
so long as it's not beating you, you just have to figure out a way to manage it.
What I was trying to say, you really can't see the future of how people would behave in 10 years' time. If not, if we see him, so if someone who agrees, oh, great, I want you to be traveling around the world after you have 2 kids.
After like telling my name, you have
but then let's ask ourselves this question: why do we always feel, or why is it that marriage at a point changes people? Now, I've been friends with somebody for 10 years, and I could see a consistency in how he's been living. I've been friends with a lady for 10 years, and I can see a consistency in how her life has been.
Yeah.
So to a degree, I should be able to. Now, we are all businessmen and women. When you enter into marriage, you've entered into a kind of business. So you also highlighted the skills, the risk rather, and you, in your own mind, okay, if this should happen, what would we do? If this should happen, what would we do? So now, if you find yourself in a situation whereby the things that you did not plan for in marriage comes to place, if you've been communicating, like if communication is one thing that is so common and strong, in, you should be able to scale through that.
But some men don't like to talk.
I've heard my pastor say something. Not even my pastor, like I've heard elderly women say something. Before you get married, you should tell yourself, the moment I'm getting married, it is no longer what I don't like.
It's what we don't like.
It's now what we don't like. Because at the end of the day, when you make a decision, whether he is there or whether she is there or not, you are making that decision for the two. Then it means that it is mutual. Do you understand? So those are the things that we should foster even in friendship. And that's why you hear people say you marry your friends. Because I know that we are not talking marriage. Marriage is not the content of discussion, but to a degree, you cannot be developing yourself personally. Marriage is one institution that can
it's a strong institution, very strong one.
It can hamper your growth, it can hamper your development and whatever investment that your parents, the society, even yourself must have poured into yourself.
So can we actually say from everything we've actually said about this marriage and thing, that is one of the reasons, because it's not everybody that can cope with multitasking.
Yes.
It's not everybody that can cope with stress, tension, and all of that. That's why some people feel marriage is not for me.
That's why they say so.
And they still feel fulfilled, like as a lady. The fact that I'm not married doesn't make me less.
And that is not to say we should now make it a norm that every lady. Now, it's a choice that you have made for yourself.
Yeah, it's a deliberate one.
Yes, and there are certain things that comes with it. So if the society is talking, you have already thought about it. No, you should not. Now, that's why you see some feminists and you start hearing them say a lot of things. I feel that if you have come to a point and you have told yourself, I don't want to get married, just tell yourself, it is my choice. And I will face anything that comes, because naturally, the African culture would expect that a male or a female at a particular, once you are matured, you should be married. Now, if you are saying that, I know I should be married, but I don't think I want to be married because I don't think I can handle this, or because I don't think it is something that I should do, then you have also told yourself, certain things will come. Do you expect the society not to talk?
Exactly.
No.
They will lash you.
You cannot be, no matter how fulfilled you are. And that does not mean that when you now get to that place where you know, podiums like this, you should now talk down on the estate of marriage. Then you are wrong.
Correct.
It's a choice you made. It is for you.
Yeah.
It's not even, it doesn't give you the right to now raise a tribe for yourself. You now say you are an advocate for ladies. So don't force. No, the society is not forcing. It's just an expectation. An expectation that you can choose to bend to or not. So you just need to also know that every decision you make would always come with a reaction. And you should be prepared for that reaction. One of the skills that you should have as one who is developing personally is ability to manage contradictions.
Exactly.
Ability to respond to negativity.
Develop a thick skin.
I'm telling you, I'm a digital marketer. I'm a lady. If I tell you the advances I get online from men, directly, indirectly, in words, now I can't afford to go online and they say something and I respond back. No, it doesn't portray me as one who is a good leader. It doesn't portray me in like, how do you expect me to begin to exchange words with somebody online? No. It's not a good thing at all. Not even online only. Now, the moment you have told yourself, this is what I want, there are certain attitudes that you should have. There are demands that comes with leadership.
But then look at it like this. There are some ladies that they have this issue with their temperament. They have this issue with the way they respond. It's not everybody can relate with people well. There's some people that interpersonal relationship with them is zero. And
but do you know
they
that
find themselves in working? Okay, some of them end up working as a customer care officer. You get to relate with people, and then this thing is telling on your work.
The same thing in marriage. You put yourself out, and you put us in. The professional world, the official world, has its own ethics. Okay. You don't go in there with my personality.
Exactly.
That's why some positions, a salesperson. A choleric is best for sales.
Which one are you?
I'm a Melco.
Okay, no, the thing is, I like just by what Fumi just said. I feel people learn in things. You can learn. You
learn on the job. Yes.
So let me share a personal experience. Just immediately after school, before my project defense, after my final paper, while waiting for project defense, I had to work as a front desk officer in a very popular hotel, big hotel in Port Harcourt. Naturally, people will not come and talk to me anyhow. Now, I'm not proud of that part of my life, because if you talk to me anyhow, I will definitely reply. You know, working as a front desk official in a hotel, I had people come and tell me.
You have to be very, very humble.
My dear sister, one lady called me, you all are daft in this place. My honor to reply, I say, oh Lord, no, Margaret, don't do that. My job was at stake, and I can't afford. Now, that taught me a lot.
The reputation of the institution
exactly.
is at stake.
You know, after that happened, now that was one of the. Some people would just barge in by 2 a.m., call you, when all sort of insult. The heater is not working. You will talk to them. They will insult from your families that are yet unborn. You know, now that taught me something. After I left there, I realized that I can easily listen to people talk to me anyhow, and I'm not saying anything. In most cases,
the moment you remove your person from that conversation, it is not you.
Exactly.
It is not you that they are talking to.
The company was at stake.
It's the now they expect something from that position.
Yeah.
They expect something from the company. Now, do you know that on a good day, if you met this person outside,
you won't even try it.
Do you understand?
Yeah. You know, someone has to say to me after I stopped working there. After a while, they came and they're like, "Where's that lady?" My manager had to call me. Come back, people are asking of you. Then someone called, took my contact, and I was like, the day the girl he came with insulted the hell out of me, and he said, "I expected you to reply. You did not respond." That's he gave me some of money, and I didn't know I had developed that kind of. Even till date, I don't even believe
that you could have undo that.
That is why I feel there's this place of attitude that everybody needs to work on, because many ladies actually outside there, they lack this thing. And it's actually telling on you.
Ladies are emotional.
Okay.
You know, somebody told me, when you have an issue with someone, try to address the issue and not the personality. It's very difficult.
But then we go
outboard.
Yes,
you attack the personality, and as a result, you leave the issue on the table.
And you hold on to that.
You only grow animosity. You know, when you're talking personal development, it's not just that official skill. I'm a thought leader. I'm hardworking. No. Emotional intelligence is one thing you should also develop. Your ability to be able to manage your emotions. You also need to know that you are not perfect. When I mean you are not perfect, like you are still emerging. Since you have somewhere you are going, and there's a kind of personality that should sit in that place, you should know that you are also growing into that. So there are things that would come out of you that you would like, are you kidding me? You mean I have it? You should be able to say, acknowledge, okay, yes, I do. I'm sorry. It's all part of it. Now, you can't say that, okay, I want to do this, I want to do that, and because somebody, one small girl, just talk to me anyhow. I watched one film, Sack Letter. That lady is a pest. You know,
the lady made the man, and he was trying to work on his anger.
I didn't watch this movie.
Oh, you need to go. Sincerely, you need to go see that movie, Sack Letter. They actually x-rayed something in that movie.
Yeah.
Like two different people. Now, she wanted to push further to begin our own cosmetic business.
Okay.
The boss is always an hungry man.
Hungry man, naturally.
He sacks people anyhow. Like, he sacks you, he pays you what you should get if you should be sacked. Like 3 months' salary, he is not perturbed. Now, because she knows that and she wants to get...
And she wants to leave.
She wants to leave.
And get money.
She began to infuriate him. Now, he was now working on his own self.
Yeah, I'm trying not to get angry.
Trying not to get angry.
I think I'm working on my own.
I control my anger.
My anger does not control
that
me.
Lady will come and annoy him.
Now, do you know that from that thing that he was doing, I control my anger. My anger does not control him. It's more or less like bringing himself to a place of consciousness of what is expected of him. Now, the lady kept on firing. She will do... I don't let me say the movie. You just go and watch it.
Okay.
Now, he consciously brought himself, not just by saying those words affirmatively, because I know that motivational speakers will tell us that affirmations, confessions, positive confessions are things that can also help your mind and help you, you know, drive towards your goal. When you see a lion, don't run, attack it from the left side.
From the left.
And, you know, they say all manner of things, but those things alone don't work. There's a need for you to be conscientious. You need to be conscious, like be determined to achieve something about yourself. You know, while we're talking, we were saying something about giving yourself, you know, a time lag between 1 year to 2 years. What do I want to achieve? You should have that too, as a lady.
You know, but then I don't think it actually works because some people, everybody has a New Year resolution. Like, okay, from
no, this is not New Year resolution.
No, I'm just trying to use that as an example because over time you've seen ladies. I think I've actually done that before. Okay, this year and this year I want to have achieved this, but sometimes if things are not really working,
who were you accountable to?
Myself.
He said myself.
No. You don't do that. You don't set a time lag for yourself and you are only accountable to yourself. It doesn't work.
But what if I don't want anybody?
No.
I don't want, really?
No.
So it can't be only me.
It can't be only you.
I have to get somebody else involved.
Did you grow up alone?
Okay. I actually learned that one.
No, you don't do that. It's not because somebody is forcing you to, but it's just the process of life. A plant does not grow by itself without the planter pouring water. No,
the sun and all
it doesn't feed only on the water. It also depends on the sun.
But then, you know, you have to be careful of people who let into our plants.
Because some don't you have a mother?
Okay.
Are you actually asking me this?
Okay. Your final words now. No, we are rounding up now. Your final words. What do you have to say?
You should have accountability. You should have people that you are accountable to. You should have a group of people that you are accountable to. If your parents are not persons that you think you can talk to, you have a friend. You have an elderly person. If you are a Muslim, you have your imam. If you are a Christian, you have your pastor or you have your youth leaders.
Because you're advising me. Advise the viewers too. Yes, I will be accountable. Cool. Yes.
Okay, now, not just you actually, but as a person, development is not an easy task.
Very well.
It's easy for you to tell yourself, this is what I want to achieve in the next 2 years. But you should have systems and structures in place that would enable you to achieve that. So you should have an accountability group. So, and you should also, don't just think what you want. Don't just leave it in the place of thought. Say it to somebody and write it down. And tell somebody, please, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to achieve. Anytime I do that. I do that a lot. And my mentors, I see them doing it also.
Okay, please don't mind.
You want to lose weight, you have a group. You want to watch your diet, you don't just want to be eating junk, not because you want to lose weight, you have a group. You want to be excellent in your academics, you have somebody you read together. You're having issues in your marriage, you are talking to a counselor. That is one attitude that I realize that in Africa, we don't have. We don't want to be answerable to somebody because we don't want somebody to talk to us anyhow. Or because we don't want somebody to be disappointed. Sometimes that disappointment is necessary.
Okay, you should learn to build on criticism.
Yes, you grow with it.
Build on criticism.
Actually, a nice word. I think I would just say that we are still work in progress.
Yeah.
And though the journey may not be smooth now, but I don't think you should quit. You should still continue to strive more and just get the better part of life. That's what I have to say.
In my final words, like I would always say this, like I said earlier in the show, as ladies, we're not created to do what men can do. We are made to do what men cannot do. Those difficulties, that's what we are created to do, and that makes us unique. And then do not be tossed around by societal norms. Every wind of doctrine would come. Do not be tossed around. Don't let the society give you a manner of how to live your life. If you're a Christian, pray. If you're a Muslim, pray. If you're a traditional worshiper, pray. That's the supreme God that oversees the affairs of men, and that's my final word.
Yeah. Wow, it's been a nice and educating, enlightening session on the program with Dorcas and the studio. I'm sure you actually learned a bit from everything she's actually said. Well, we don't have much to say. We just have to go now. That's how far we can go on today's episode of Engendered. Do well to join us next time as we bring you more interesting topics. I still remain from Lyle Show.
And I am Margaret Opara. See you next time.